Hello, my name is Pablo Gutierrez, and I'm a licensed professional counselor in the state of Virginia and of Florida. And I'm here to talk to you about something that you probably already know is one of the hardest, most difficult, and brutal sometimes things that a person can go through. And that is betrayal. Maybe it just happened to you, and you're still trying to understand what you're feeling and what your body is doing in response to being betrayed. Or maybe you're a friend of someone who is going through betrayal. It is confusing and it's super intense. And so, either way, I want to give you something today that I think is going to be very useful. It's not a quick cure, and it's not like a 5 step plan, just a map. Because one of the most disorienting things about betrayal is that you can be feeling completely opposite things in the same hour and have no idea why. Anger, then longing, then rage, then numbness, then this like strange, almost quiet hum of a sadness that doesn't quite have a name yet because it feels like sadness mixed with an emptiness. And when that happens, most people think something is wrong with them, something is off, but nothing is wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with a person who's been betrayed and is experiencing all those things. What's happening is actually very specific. And once you can see it, something shifts inside. Not the pain, at least not yet, but the confusion. And to have clarity really matters. And I say this because, and I'll keep this brief, is that I'm not just speaking to you as a clinician, but as someone that's also been betrayed by people I've loved and that I cared for deeply, that I trusted in, admired, laughed with. So I know what it feels like to be inside that confusion and not having a map, not having a clarity. And so part of the reason why I'm doing this video and also why I created this map is because I see just how important it is to have clarity. So let's go over this map quickly so that you can get sort of a sense of what's going on. And there's three lanes or three quote unquote systems at play. The first one is trauma. Betrayal trauma is different in that your nervous system has been ambushed, not by a stranger, obviously, but by someone you trusted. And now your body, your nervous system is asking one question over and over and over and over again. And that question is, am I safe? Am I safe? And it's important to know that when you're in this lane, in this system being activated, it's not an actual question that comes to mind. The trauma lane is about safety, and it's your body expressing this question in a myriad of ways. So it can be hypervigilance, flashbacks, difficulty concentrating, difficulty sleeping, numbness, like I said before, sometimes shaking, heart palpitations, panic, and sometimes like a low level dread. So that's your trauma lane being activated. And the next one is grief. And in this lane, um, something real, very real, is gone. The future you planned, the person you thought they were, is gone. And the version of yourself that existed within that relationship with your betrayer. And so the question in this lane underneath it all is, what do I do with everything that's been lost? So grief after betrayal is different from other types of grief because, and we'll get into that in a moment, the person is still there. So technically it's still happening, but something ended. And grief is the appropriate response to something that ends. And the third lane is heartbreak. So this one is the most surprising one because it's misunderstood. There's a very big difference between heartbreak and grief. The bond you formed with a person that betrayed you doesn't simply end because it was violated. Part of you is still reaching out, still longing, still asking, is it really over? And that longing, I want to be very clear about this, does not mean you're what your inner critic says you are. And it doesn't mean that you should go back to the person who betrayed you. It just means that a genuine bond was broken. And a bond like that just doesn't dissolve in the moment that it's shattered. So these aren't stages, they're not phases that you move through and like in time and in order. These are three separate systems running in tandem, competing for your your body, for your nervous system. And so this is what I call the three lane model. That's the map. So it's trauma, betrayal trauma specifically, grief, and heartbreak. So I'm going to share Sarah's story. Sarah, whose name I've changed, is a person who was betrayed by Daniel, who she trusted in, loved deeply. He had been telling her how much he loved her, and they had agreed on certain things that they would not do. So she found out a few days ago her appetite is off. Her mind keeps going back to the same moments, to the same conversations, just replaying them, looking for what she missed. But today she decided to get out of bed and out of her house and just for a little while do something normal. So she goes to the grocery store and suddenly it hits. So she's in the aisle, hands on her cart, and she has a flashback. Not a memory exactly, more like the feeling of the moment she found out of the betrayal, and it floods her body again. Her chest tightens, her stomach drops, her breathing gets shallow. And so when she comes to, she notices that her hands are just numb. Her fingers are numb. That's the trauma lane. Not because the supermarket is dangerous or anything. It's because something in that moment triggered that response. It could have been a song, it could have been a smell. Something triggered it. And it really doesn't matter what it was. What matters is that her body is now asking one question: am I safe? Am I safe? Again, it's not coming up as a question, it's coming up as a flashback. And everything else, the grocery store, the grocery list, the people in the aisle, everything that's like normal on a Tuesday morning, all of that goes offline because safety comes first. It always comes first. And then maybe 20 minutes later, she's still in the grocery store, and then she's almost at the checkout when suddenly she sees something, Daniel's favorite coffee brand. So she goes into a different lane. This time it's heartbreak. She misses him. Not the person who betrayed her, not what he did. She misses the person she thought he was. She misses the mornings they'd stand in the kitchen together and have coffee and feeling like someone had her back. Obviously, it turns out that he didn't, but she misses those memories and those feelings. So immediately, another part of her system is activated. It's the heartbreak, but then her inner critic pops up and goes, how can you possibly miss him after what he did? What's wrong with you? Nothing is wrong with Sarah. Nothing at all. That's the heartbreak lane. That's the attachment system doing what attachment systems do, reaching toward connection, toward the person it loved and it cared for, reaching toward the person it bonded with. So we're not just people of the mind, we're people of the umbilical cord, the maternal gaze and breastfeeding. We're people of the warmth that kept us alive. Before we had any words for that, connection is not a choice we make, it's what we're made of. And so when connection is violated by betrayal, there's a part of us that grieves that violation. And there's also a part of us that reaches for it anyway. And both of those things are true. They exist, they coexist, and both of them make complete sense. So, Sarah then pays for her groceries. She walks to her car. She sits down, closes the door, and then quietly, without warning, she just knows in her heart it's over. Not in an angry way, not in the way of the flashback or the longing. It's just settling into something new. The Daniel she thought she knew is gone. So here's what's important to understand about these three lanes. And this is where I think a lot of recovery approaches miss something. These three systems don't just run simultaneously, they pull in different directions. Trauma says the person that betrayed you is not safe. Stay away, protect yourself. And then heartbreak says, yeah, but I still love them. Or at least I still want to feel connected to them. And grief says, no, it's over. Start finding meaning in the loss. So you can feel all three of those in the same hour, in the same day, and they contradict each other at times. And that contradiction, that's not a sign that you're confused or unstable or anything else that your inner critic says. That's just what it feels like when three systems are competing for your nervous system at the same time. And that's why what I'm going to say, matters practically. If you or someone you love goes into couples counseling right after betrayal and the trauma part hasn't been addressed yet, you're building on very unstable ground because the person who caused the alarms to go off is also the person the attachment system wants to reconnect with. And until the nervous system has some sense of safety, until the first lane has been given the attention it needs, asking it to engage in relational repair is like asking someone to have a productive conversation in the middle of a panic attack. The body has to come first. So that's the map: trauma, grief, heartbreak. 3 lanes, 3 questions, and 3 needs, 3 systems running at the same time. And in the next video, I'm going to go deeper into each lane: what's happening in your body, what actually helps, and what tends to make things harder. But for today, if you take one thing from this, let it be this: what you're feeling makes sense. It totally does. All of it. Even the parts that seem to contradict each other. Even the longing you're ashamed of. Even the numbness that scares you. And the anger that surprises you. It all makes sense. And there's a map for it. If this was helpful, share it with that person or someone that needs it. But for now, I'll catch you in the next one.